Om Tat Sat. Good afternoon to one and all. The respected Chair, Professor M.G. Nagarajji, co-panelist or paper presenter, Dr. Anuradha ji, and all the dignitaries and authorities from the Mythic Society and ICHR, Bengaluru. So since morning, we are all discussing about the Bhakti Movement in South India and Historical Reappraisal. So normally, if you take the Bhagavata, it always mentions that Bhakti was given birth in Dravida Desha and it grew and it started traveling towards the northern and western Bharata. That's what it is told, and a very beautiful story of Narada Maharishi comes in the beginning of that episode also in the Srimad Bhagavata Purana. That's how normally many of the Bhakti seminars starts with quoting from that one. But one very interesting thing, when the organizers, they have asked me to present, I told them that why can't I take a chance about relating Bhakti and Tantra, so that at least in the afternoon session it will be keeping the audience alive before they break for tea. That is Tantra. That is Tantra. There is a word in Kannada which is related to the Tamil culture or the Tamil part of Bharata. Guruvige Tirumantra. Guruvige Tirumantra. Actually, Tirumantra is a text about the Bhakti and Tantra. So, what is a text in Tamil Nadu, in the Tantric tradition, is a proverb in Karnataka. That shows that there is always a literary and a kind of what you call at the common people's level connection is there. One or two submissions, what already Dr. Rajaram Hegde has started pulling out the picture. When we make a presentation about Bhakti and all, certain kinds of schism will come in the picture. A kind of bhinnate will come in the picture, saying that Shaiva, Vaishnava, Shakta and all these sects or cults, they are leaning towards Bhakti Marga, whereas the Jains and the Buddhists and the Shaktas, normally they are not into that. But the connecting point of all of them is, end of the day, the practice. How much ever we academicians or researchers, we do all our papers and seminars, either archaeologically or as a literary historians or socio-political historians, psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever, and postmodern, post-colonial thinkers, end of the day, it is meant to be practiced. Bhakti is meant to be practiced, Jnana meant to be practiced, Raja Yoga is there to practice, and also Karma Yoga is means of practicing. Therefore, all these four forms of Indian ways of yoga is there to put it into practice. If you take the Vishnu Sahasranama, in that one important line comes, Achara Prabho Dharmaha Dharmasya Prabhurachyutaha. How much ever you know, philosophically or technically or at the mental level, unless it percolates into your cognitive level and you put it into practice, you will not become an acharyan. You will not become a practitioner. Otherwise, you are treated as an outsider in the Bhakti or in the Yoga or in the Tantric tradition. This is very much clearly told by Acharya Mahamaheshwara Abhinavagupta in his Tantra Loka. I am an ardent student of Tantra from last 25 years. I have not written much, only written 6-7 books, but that is nothing compared to the gamut of literature available about Tantras. Second point, when we start about talking about the Tantras, one important notion comes from the European studies which is carried in 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th centuries. Namely, they started calling our Tantras as shamanism, as black magic, a kind of mysticism, a kind of a left-hand path. There is a book by Swabodar, somebody, this says Aghora, the left-hand path. 3 volumes are there. He doesn't know right hand, he doesn't know left hand also. But the book is very popular in the English market. Why I am straight away telling these things is that these words, the European scholars of religious studies starting from Weber and others, and including our own Indian scholars in their outward appearance and psychologically who are immersed in the European academic contours, what they have borrowed those kinds of maps, intellectual maps of religious, tracing the religious sensitivities from the European knowledge market. and they have imported into the Indian context and they have written n number of books on that. For example, you see the kind of beauty. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was a Kali worshipper, Mata Kali's worshipper. His disciple, among the 12 disciples, one of the important heroic disciple is Swami Vivekananda. He becomes an Advaitin. That is only one part. Second part of Vivekananda is that he also proposes so many things about Buddha. People who talk about Buddha part of Vivekananda will not talk about the Vedantin part of Vivekananda. People who will glorify the Vedantin part of Vivekananda will forget he was also talking about the Buddha part. And also he was a devotee of a guru who was a disciple of Kali Mata. He has written a poem called Kali, and his student, Sister Nivedita, has written a small book called Kali. Her nationalist ideas are discussed, but not this book on Tantras or on Kali. So, a kind of selection and representation has happened in our cultural readings. That is point number one, my submission. Therefore, unless we break down all those shackles and all those artificial barriers which our various departments or various disciplines have built, as against the storm coming from the European encounter with our Indian tradition, we will not get any intellectual moksha. Namge yava bauddhika moksha sikkodilla. This is the point. With this, my framework for the presentation is that whenever the yoga means there should be some kind of a hypothesis, right? When you do some kind of a paper presentation or research, my proposal is like this. In India, maybe from the times of the Guptas till the 18th century, 19th century, there are two streams coming largely in entire Bharata. One is the yoga stream, which may be hundreds of yogas. One from Maharashtra, not one, hundreds of things from Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Kashmir, Madhya Bharat, Southern India, Eastern India, foot of the Himalayas, everything. That is one yoga dhara. Yoga stream of yoga streams are there. One is yoga dhara. Another is the bhakti dhara. Whenever the yoga practice, and bhakti dhara is also having so many kinds of devotion. It can be as told in the Narada Bhakti Sutras. Different kinds of bhaktis are there, right? It can be Madhura Bhakti, it can be Vatsalya Bhakti, it can be the Bhakti of a Virahin, a longing for the beloved, like Radha Krishna, or in the case of Alvar's Andal, right? Or in the case of Karnataka, Akkamahadevi, or in case of Uttar Bharata, Mirabai. So that is longing, right? This is different kinds of bhaktis are there, or Vatsalya Bhakti is there, like Yashoda and Krishna, something like that. Kanna, he is called Kanna in Tamil literature. Whenever the bhakti becomes too much and it becomes almost like it loses that sharpness of questioning something, then comes yoga to help it, because at the end of the day yoga is to clarify the mind. When the mind is unclear, you do the meditation, different kinds of practices including the pranayama, kapalbhati, which clears your cerebral part, and you become clearer. Your mind or your operative tool becomes clearer. And when yoga becomes so pedantic, yoga becomes so dry, akata vikatada naru berina yoga vallabho, Alama Prabhu says. That means I am not doing that kind of a yoga which is only related to jadi booty. That means you are all selling some Ayurveda medicine and you are telling that is something kind of a yoga. I am not practicing or proposing that kind of yoga, says an important Vachanakara or a Virashaiva saint from 12th century Karnataka, who is the epitome of knowledge in the Vachana tradition. Who was he was in quest of knowledge. He was in quest of Guheshwara, Shiva, one form of Shiva. That means, point is that when yoga becomes too much, bhakti will control it or balance it. When bhakti becomes too much, yoga will control it. Therefore, there is this is my kind of a framework, that bhakti and yoga, they will keep that balance in the Indian spiritual and literary or whatever the historical tradition for the last 2000 years, what you call as the second phase of classical period in Indian history. This is the point. Here is a problem. When the Europeans came, they considered Patanjali Yoga Sutra as a supreme kind of yoga. But they somehow considered Tantra Shastra, as proposed by the Tamil Shaiva saints, I am going to show, by Allama Prabhu Akkamahadevi in Karnataka Shaiva literature in 12th century, or from Bagalamba Stuti by Chidananda Avadhuta, and of course many of the modern day Tantric practitioners like Satyakama and others, that yoga is okay, yoga is pure. Tantra is with a black shade. Tantra is like Mata Mantra. Tantra is all in Karnataka, if you know the idiom from Karnataka, it is called Kollegala Mata. Tantra is Kollegala Mata. Like, see, everybody can connect to this. Even in front of this Vidhan Saudha also, some time back, to get the chief ministership, somebody has used Kollegala Mata. It was reported in newspapers. That means Tantra is related to lemon and vermilion. And all that, Arshna Kunkuma and also Nimbehannu. This is what is called, no, this is part of Tantra. There is no doubt about it. That's not all. Tantra has got a large body of literature. That is the point. That's why I asked the organizers to include Tantra as a part of the Bhakti Movement in South India. So we can draw a lot of parallels from Tamil literature, Malayalam literature, Amme, they call Amme in Tamil, in Malayalam literature, Tamil literature, and Telugu and Tulu and Konkani. But right now I am only restricting myself for the paucity of time, and as I have promised, only to Kannada, some of the aspects in Karnataka. I will take only few minutes. Allama Prabhu was considered as one of the very great intellectual saints, or saint is not a proper word, we know that is having a lot of Christian heaviness, but for the lack of proper word I am using that one. From 12th century. He has written so many kinds of varieties of vachanas, which are already translated into many of the languages in Bharata. In that, I am quoting from volume number 2 from the Government of Karnataka Kannada and Culture Department's volume. One vachana I will say, Budasthanadalli Adhara Chakra, means in the base chakra is Adhara Chakra, Prithvi Amba Mahabhuta. There Prithvi is the Mahabhuta. Chatuh Kone, Chaudala Padma, he gives all the descriptions of the how many number of petals and all that. That's a technical tantric detail. And he relates it to the Bijakshara. Bijakshara is Va, Sha, Sha, Sa. Those 4 alphabets he gives. Normally we say Ganesha is the Muladhara, deity for the Muladhara. Are we not having lot many Ganesha Kirtanas in Carnatic music? Lot many are there. And every Carnatic music singer will be singing Ganesha Stotras, Ganesha Stutis in the beginning of the Carnatic music, without attributing it that it is a part of the Tantric literature. As a part of the Bhakti literature, they are singing it. So, Bhakti and Tantra is going together practically, because when you say Ganesha, he is the god of the Muladhara. Everybody agrees it in Indian yogic tradition. And Allama Prabhu, not only Allama Prabhu, since I am speaking about Karnataka, I am taking from Allama Prabhu, that's all. Otherwise I can take from many other people from other languages also. Second one, he says Lingasthanadalli Swadhisthana, like that. In the Lingasthana is Swadhisthana Chakra, then Appu, that is water, is the Mahabhuta, and there are 6 letters, or 6 Bijaksharas are there. Nabhisthana to the navel, then Manipura Chakra, then 10 letters are there. And Vishnu is the deity. Hridayasthana, heart center, heart chakra, Anahata Chakra, there Maheshwara. Shiva is the deity, main deity. And Kunkuma is the color. Kantasthana is Vishuddha Chakra. Akasha is the Mahabhuta, ether. And it has got 16 Shodasha Bijaksharas, i.e. what we know as the vowels in the language, Ammaha. Its color is white. And its god is Sadashiva. That means there is a qualitative difference between Maheshwara as a god and Sadashiva as god. And Bhumadra Chakra here, Agnya Chakra. Agnya Chakra is Manassu. Manas is the mind, is the Mahabhuta. And only 2 petals are there. Ham Ksham are the 2 Bijakshara letters. And Shri Guru is the god. Shri Guru is the god of the Agnya Chakra. And last one is the Unmani Jyoti, the ultimate light. That is in the Brahmarandra, above the Brahmarandra. It is also, he mentions that as Sahasradala Padma. Everybody can understand. It is Sahasradala Padma, 1000-petaled lotus. There is nectar. There is Amrita. Om, that is what is the format? It is Om. No other letters are there. No other bijaksharas are there. That means you start traveling from Va, Sha, Sha, Sa as a practitioner and you go to the Om. What we do at the end of the yoga bhyasa, when we do the yoga practice at home, we do the yogasana, we do the pranayama, later we end with the 3 omkaras or 1 omkara, whatever is possible. So it is a part and parcel of the Indian tradition to utter Om. Here Allama Prabhu is telling that happens at the Sahasrara Chakra as a practitioner. We want Om, but we don't want Tantra in the Bhakti. So, like this, there are, at least I have noted from that volume written by, the set of poems written by Allama Prabhu, some 25 poems only on Tantra Shastra, and I have edited in my book. This is published long back, Tantra Darshana in Kannada. Like that I can give a lot of examples, but only one example I will give you that is very interesting. Interesting to know that he is telling that there are your Vedas, I am just translating roughly, Veda Shastra Purana Agamangalellahu 52 ಅಕ್ಷರಗಳೊಳಗು. Entire body of your knowledge called the Vedas, Puranas, Shastras, Agama literature can be codified into 52 letters or 52 alphabets. He also says that it is clearly written like an inscription, like a Shila Shasana. That is, there is a Vachana from Allama Prabhu. Nobody should read it. That means what he is telling, nobody who is uninitiated should read it. There is a point of Diksha. So, Bhakti movement or the Tantra, it requires that kind of an initiation from the Guru. That's the point he is telling. And all those 52 alphabets are there in one tongue, and that tongue is there in the mind. That mind is there in the prana or the vital. That vital is there in the music or the vibration nada. That nada is there in the Brahma. And that nada Brahma, if you know, then you can know the Guheshwara Linga. So, it is also related to whatever you call as the musicology. So when we talk about the Carnatic music or the Hindustani music, essentially we are Tantrics in nature. It is Jasraj or Subbulakshmi or it is Pattamal. Whoever is singing those songs, everybody is a Tantric, whether they agree it or not. Since they have achieved that control over the Nada and they have submitted themselves to the Nada Saraswati, that kind of a vibration, whatever they are singing, it is touching our heart and we are crying with joy, ecstasy. End of the day, Bhakti will lead us to Rasa and Tantra will also lead us to that ecstasy, that Ananda. This is the point. Therefore, when the Europeans, they saw yoga, rightly or wrongly, they associated it with Sankhya. Sankhya and yoga in the Indian system of philosophy, that's correct only. But also there is one more missing angle is, what Sankhya cannot do, what Sankhya cannot do to yoga, Tantra can do. Sankhya and yoga is one set of husband and wife, philosophically, male and female. Another one is yoga and Tantra. Therefore, Bhakti movement, when we say it includes Raja Yoga also. Raja Yoga is nothing but Tantra Yoga. Raja Yoga is nothing but Kundalini Yoga. But when Swami Vivekananda himself, when we went to Europe and America, he gave a lectures on Raja Yoga, including Ramakrishna Ashrama Mutt, they will publish that. But everybody thinks that it is Raja Yoga means one kind of yoga. Actually, Raja Yoga is the kingly yoga, including a Vedantin kind of a person like Vivekananda has told, and he has brought it into the mainstream. But till now, there is a lot of taboo about relating Tantra in our cultural discourses. As we talk about the Bhakti literature, and in the context of Karnataka I am telling, we will not talk that much about the Tantra literature available in Karnataka. I am not talking about the sculpture part. I can talk about the Lajjagauri. For example, lot of Lajjagauri Shilpas or stone art is available in Uttar Karnataka, in northern part of Karnataka. Badami and other areas are there. Marathi scholar Dhere has written one wonderful book about Lajjagauri itself, And in Karnataka also, Chidanand Murthy, M.M. Kalburgi and many scholars have produced papers on Lajja Gauri. We all know that. Lajja Gauri is that when Shiva and Parvati, they are in their ekanta, they are mating or they are in their Shungara. At that time, some bhakta comes and sees that. They're meeting. And Parvati becomes shy. Parvati nods or she make a gesture of putting her head down. And the head fell. It's only a symbolic story. The head fell. So she became a headless god. Only the upper part of the body, including the yoni part. So that is being worshipped. And Chidanand Murthy had a proposal saying that is because of the fertility cult. Whereas M.M. Kalburgi, another scholar, he will reject that because it is not for the fertility cult, because the position is not related of giving birth to the baby, but the prior activities of giving birth. Therefore, it is related to Sambhoga, not related to delivery of the baby. That is what is told by, there is a striking difference between what Dr. Chidanand Murthy says and what Dr. Kalburgi says. Whatever is that is for the scholars. Again, for the devotees in the village, for them, she is a Devi. And in that, some people have told that she will be having no face. There is no mukha. Instead of the face, there is 1,000-petal lotus picture is there. It is carved. Therefore, again, some people, they have taken the help from the Shat Chakras, 6 chakra school of Tantras. They have interpreted that as Sahasrara. So, the word Sahasrara, it comes in our so many kinds of poetries in Kannada. I am skipping Akkamahadevi. Akkamahadevi is a great Tantric. She is a Vachanakarthi. She has written a lot of Vachanas. In that, she has talked about a kind of a serpent. And that serpent is nothing but the Kundalini serpent. She has written many poems or composed many poems related to Kundalini in her Vachana literature. Again, it is already published actually. Lastly, this is all yoga and philosophical things, little bit of intellectual. What about the folk, the ordinary day-to-day people like us who are into the ordinary walks of life? Bagalamba Devi. Bagalamba worship is very much relevant in Karnataka, very much in existence in Karnataka, along with so many Shakti Devatas in northern, central and the southern part of Karnataka, along with Saptamatrukas and others. Bagalamba is very famous. During the Navaratri festival, there is a tradition in Karnataka of reading the Kannada Devi Bhagavata at homes. Not Samskrita Bhagavata, so Devi Bhagavata. Kannada Devi Bhagavata composed in Shatpadi meter, in 6 lines hexameter by Chidananda Avadhuta. It is available. It's a beautiful poetry. Bhamini Shatpadi is there. In that, there is a poem related to Bagalamba Devi. I will read only 2 lines. Amba Katakshi se Amba. Amba Paramba Bagalamba Madhukaitava Bhariye Mahisha Sureshwariye Kadana Shubhantaki Karuna Krupa Kataksha Narayani Bhadre Narasimhini Raudri Varahi Kaliye Gauri Uma Maheshwari Shankari. Like that it goes, and it is sung by the people who know music with the musical notations. As we have Ramaprasada in Bengali, or we have Vidyapati in Mithila, so we have Chidananda Avadhuta in Karnataka, as far as the Tantric literature is concerned. And it is very much there in the central part of Karnataka. He has written many poems other than that Kavya on poetry about Bagalamba Devi. So, end of the day, Tantric culture is an integral part of the Indian spiritual tradition, Adhyatmik Parampara. And also, it is a common factor between the yoga tradition and the bhakti tradition. So, this is the submission from my side. Therefore, whatever the sculptures we are seeing, whatever the inscriptions we are reading or we are taking into account, along with that, if we consider, at least if we look into the matter of Jain literature from the Bhakti angle, you will get at least 1000 Jain Bhakti poems in Karnataka. Jaina Kirtanas is already published as a volume from Karnataka University, Hampi. There is a song, there is a Sanskrit composition called Bhaktamara Stotra. Bhaktamara Stotra is sung in every Jain households in Karnataka and in Maharashtra, wherever the wherever the Jain people are there, belonging to the Digambara tradition. So how can we say 12 years once the Bhagavan Bahubali Mahamastaka Abhisheka takes place in Chamanbalgula, one of the richest places of having Kannada inscriptions. Volume number 2 is related to epigraphy of Karnataka to Chamanbalgula. We all know that, right? That is, how many songs you need on Bahubali? Hundreds of songs are there. Somehow, Bahubali songs or Bhaktamara songs before he comes I have to run. They are not considered, why? My question for the august audience is why they are not considered equivalent to the Shaiva Bhakti literature of the Nayanmas or the Vachanakaras, or the Vaishnava literature of the Sri Vaishnava of the Ramanuja tradition, or of the Madhva Sampradaya, or of the Bhagavata Sampradaya, Varakari, or in Karnataka, whatever the Smarta tradition we are having in Karnataka. Why it is there? Not that they are not Bhaktas, not that they are not doing Bhakti in their Jinamandiras, or in their Tantric places of worship. It is the lacuna, it is the myopic vision of the scholars, I would say, that they have not considered. Why they have not considered? Because we are all the products of the European Orientalism. That is the first sentence I have started. So, therefore, what they have not told, what they have considered as minor village deities and some obscure deities and some fearsome deities and all those words they have given, Ugra Gramina Devata, all those words still it is carried. But in Bengaluru, in its womb, Bengaluru is a city in its womb, it is having at least 60 to 100 villages. Every village in Bengaluru, within Bengaluru there are small villages, areas, you are having the Grama Devatas. Bengaluru is embedded with Grama Devatas. Here only if you go to Malleshwaram, you have the Patalamma, or you have this Circle Maramma. Very famous festival is going on, Circle Maramma. Circle Maramma, for that there are compositions made, not only the ancient, medieval or the prehistoric or whatever, modern day compositions are there along with the Bollywood songs, along with Kannada songs, along with Tamil songs, tunes, they are there. So, Tantric Bhakti is a ever-growing phenomena which is expressed both in terms of sculptures, in terms of inscriptions and in terms of popular literature. Thank you.